Welcome to Talented Universe on this ominous day, September 11th, 2025. So, how is everyone doing today? Marcia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Here in Northeast Florida, and happy to be here.
That's good. Liz, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well, just reflecting on some friends and family that went down in the towers. But other than that, I'm doing good.
Well, that's good. Well, I would like to introduce our guest today, Douglas Jung. Douglas, how are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Are you ready for this interesting chat that we're going to have?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, since I don't have any questions yet in the chat room, I am going directly to Liz.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're going to be directly doing the first question and stealing mine. Douglas, I have a question for you. How early on did you know you wanted to be an actor, and what kind of inspired you to do that?
Yeah, so I guess I've always been like a really dramatic kid. When I was really young, I would like perform. I would like when I was playing around, I would pretend to die, have like a death scene or or something, and I would like or collapse, or I would always like I would pretend to like transform into a wolf, or I thought I was like a lion or something. So from a pretty young age, I was like very performative and dramatic. And then I started, as I got a little older, I started understanding movies and narratives and how all that stuff works. And then I was like, so I was at I was born in Anaheim, and I was like living in the city of Orange for a while. So my family and I would always go to the Orange County Fair. And one year, I can't remember exactly how old I was. Maybe I was like 8 or 9. It was a talent scout that saw me and my older sister and was like, "Hey, would you guys want to come to this like casting call that we have? You have like a great look, and your kids seem to be really happy and outgoing." So me and my older sister went, and they just give you a mic, and they just like put you in front of a bunch of people, and they're like, but asking you. There's a really really like outgoing lady that's just asking you questions, and apparently like I did pretty well on it, and then I met with a talent scout who wanted to like have me do like a mock audition. I think it was like an Old Navy mock audition side that I got. And that was like a couple weeks later. And so at the time we were living in Orange, and Hollywood's just a bit of a drive. And I have 3 sisters. So when the time came around for us to go again, my mom couldn't get a babysitter. So that dream was kind of shelved for a while. But I always had like, so like when I was like my late teens, I was like 18, 19, I met my manager, someone who became my manager at the restaurant I was working at. And she encouraged me to start going to classes, and she hooked me up with my first commercial agent. And so I feel like it was a pretty young age when I knew I wanted to be an actor, but I didn't. None of my family is in the creative field, so I didn't know that was like a possibility. I would just see people on screen and thought they were the character. It wasn't until
Wow.
probably like 18, 19 that I was like, oh no, this is acting, and this is maybe something I could do. Yeah.
I think you are the first person that I've ever heard with that kind of narrative through to what you wanted to do. I really like that. The other question I have been dying to ask is, what on earth? How did you get involved with Darman Studios? I have followed him for years. So
Yeah. So it was just a casting call. I was on I think it was Actors Access, I think, one of the main like casting sites.
yeah.
I when I committed to acting full time, which was like it was like beginning of 2023, around then. I was like, I remember I was someone I was dating, a sibling of theirs was like also a creative, and I remember she wanted to be like an artist, and her family was like, all right, fine, you want to be an artist, you have to treat it like a business. So 9 to 5, like commit everything, like you have to go all out. You can't just make it as a hobby if you really want to do this. And those words stuck with me. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, and when I committed to doing this, I was like, I'm going to give it everything I have. And I was working a full-time job during COVID. And so I was like, all right, what I put into that, working 40 hours plus a week, I have to put into this if I really want to do it. And so I was just submitting everything that matched me, that paid, I was submitting to. And Darman Studios was just one of those things that I found and I applied to. And it's interesting because every time I've auditioned for them or submitted to them, I never got booked.
Oh,
If they like you and you have some strong tapes that you send in, they'll kind of add you to their roster, and then so they will eventually just email you when a project comes up that they think you're a good fit for. So I had auditioned for them a bunch, and then finally they emailed me, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do this. I believe my first one was like I had a few lines. It was like a basketball one. Was the first one I did. And it was so funny. I actually,
that's your background.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I had like 1 or 2 lines, so it was like day player. But it was a basketball scene I was doing, and I
Mhm.
love basketball. I played basketball since I was a little kid, but I had just torn my Achilles
Oh,
not that long before, and I had gotten surgery, and I was going through physical therapy, and so I was walking, but I wasn't really able to I shouldn't have been jumping around, and so I was kind of just like landing on the other foot, kind of just faking. But I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So yeah, that was kind of how I first got involved. They just emailed me and gave me a role.
cool.
Yeah.
You played competitive basketball, didn't you, at one point?
Yeah. So I played in high school.
Yeah.
And I played after that. I didn't play in college, but I would there was like I played with a bunch of friends, and there was like some city community leagues that I played with. Yeah, I wasn't
Okay.
I feel like I'm like above average, but
Yeah.
I'm not like D1 or anything like that.
Okay. I'm going to throw it to Mark here in a second, but the thing I wanted to ask you last, at least for right this minute, is because you worked with Starman Studios, is that how you slid into working with actual mainstream verticals?
No. So
Oh,
with mainstream verticals, yeah, even though like they're pretty similar in their
yeah.
format, like being more
There's a
soap
lot of
opera.
similar actors and actresses too.
Yeah, they cross over a lot. I think a
Yeah.
lot of that just has to do with a lot of the actors in LA, where everyone's just so committed and works very hard, so they apply to everything. There's one actor that a couple actors I've worked with that also have worked with in Darman Studios that I've worked with, or just I've seen them on set or they post about it, but I haven't worked with them directly. But yeah, I could tell you how I got involved with verticals. If
Oh,
that's your next.
sure.
Yeah. So I went to college at UCSD, the University of California, San Diego, and I was a communications major, and it just so happened that I wanted to do like film, but communication was like the more practical degree to go into, and it just so happened that all the film equipment, that all the visual arts majors and the theater majors, all the film equipment, cameras and lighting and everything, they were in the communications building. So I was just like kind of around a lot of the kids that are making films, and I was able to take some visual arts classes where I was like, there was one class I took where we had to make a film a week. There's another one I did that was editing. So I kind of became friends with some of the visual arts majors. So one of my friends, David Yang, he is a really, really talented filmmaker. He does a lot more like commercial stuff now, but I was like commuting. I was living in Temecula at the time. I was post college, post COVID kind of, and my friend David, he was living in LA, and he knew I was commuting to LA, and I was like starting to like get work, and I would just kind of drive back and forth. And he hit me up one day. He's like, "Hey, I have a background job for you. Like, would you like to do this? It pays pretty well." And David's awesome, so I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course." So I show up, and then all the cameras are vertical. And I was like, wait, what's going on? That was the first time I was ever on a vertical set. And he explained it to me, and I did not understand what was going on. He's like, yeah, it's like a book that the company do a lot of like audio dramas, and they're trying to make this book into like a film, but it's shot vertically for your phone. And I was like, okay. And it was me and my other friend who were background. And like, obviously, because the frame is like this, you can two people in the background is plenty. It makes it look like it's really full. And so that was my first. I had like 2 days of that. And that was like my first experience into a vertical. And then after that, I started booking like characters with lines.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Marcia, I'm gonna go ahead and toss it to you.
Well, thank you. Hi, Douglas.
Hi.
Um, I want to. I love the Wayback Machine, so I'm going to put a little coin in the Wayback Machine. Not too way back, since you're so young anyway. But I really have been enjoying some of your early shorts that you have done, and I wanted to explore some of that with you. For instance, rational displacement. If that was
Yes.
a really short, which
Yeah.
which I which I liked a lot. Can you tell me how that came about?
Yeah. Rational displacement. Yeah. So that was with um I believe that's the one. There's like I have no lines. I'm kind of just walking, or I'm talking to my mom.
You're
I'm like,
talking to your mom,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we generally find out what's really going on in your life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was so one of the connections I had at my at UCSD. A lot of the I was involved with a lot of the visual arts majors, and my friend Matt, who is like he wrote and directed that. He is also an actor living in LA now. He had a project due, and he knew I was acting. I was like, yes, I'll act. I was like almost harassing my fellow peers to be like, can I please be in your film, please, please, please. And looking back at that, it was like I was like, oh, I'm being annoying, but now I'm like, no, it's good. You have to like just go for it. But so yeah, he just knew me. We had a couple of projects we've done together for class, and he hit me up and he's like, hey, can you be in this? It seemed like he kind of maybe like procrastinated a little bit because it was a little last minute, and I was like, yeah, sure. And he shot it. He's really talented. He shot it really well, and it was one of the first like short films where I was like, oh, this looks really good, because other ones I've been in were kind of like very student film where you can
Hmm.
just tell like there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of yeah. So yeah, he just I knew him, we were friends, and he's like, hey, can you act in this thing? And I was like, yeah, sure. And we shot it over the course of, I think it was like maybe a few hours over the course of a few days.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your hair color
It's a little different, huh?
was that you already had your hair that way, or was that something you had done?
Yeah. So I basically had dyed it. I forgot when I dyed it. I feel like it's a college thing to do, to dye your hair. Um, so I had dyed it, and I think at that point it was kind of growing out a lot. So I was dyeing it a bunch just to change it up a little bit. I've never dyed my hair before. It was like
Mm.
new experience, first time living away from home at college. And yeah, I think I had some friends that had like done it. My sister helped me do it a couple of times. Yeah,
Just something fun to do.
yeah, something new and fun. I
Yeah.
was like trying to be a little rebellious. Yeah.
And the another one that you did was suppression, which I saw
Yes.
you had a very short version, then there was a longer one where there
Yeah.
was more explanation in that,
Yeah.
where you were a young man in trouble,
Yeah. Yeah.
and kind of deciding which way you were going to go.
Yeah.
Um, and was that also a student film, or?
Yeah, that was also student film. Yeah. So I think the shorter version, um, because sometimes I didn't want to post the entire film on my website, so I would just post like a trailer. I've done editing as well. So I just would cut it together a little trailer to make it look really cool, and I would post that. So it's probably just the trailer you're referring to for
Mhm.
that. But if I could send you the longer version, if you haven't
That
seen it.
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen the short, the longer, and I'd love to see the complete version of it,
Okay, yeah.
because I always
How long
wondered.
is I think the long
The other
version
was
might be the whole thing.
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Okay. I think that might be the whole thing. It's pretty short.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there was, is there more to that story that wasn't put on film yet, or was that the complete project?
That was a complete project. Yeah, it was a student film, so it was shot over 2 days. So things are really,
Okay.
really
Okay.
small. So that's an interesting story. Um, so I got connected with the director and writer for that. There was another film that they did, and it was like one of his friends. She was directing this bigger production that she had a lot more money. So it's not like it's different from like UCSD is different from like Chapman or LMU or like other bigger like film schools where they will give you money to invest into a film. You kind of are like you don't really get a budget. So I think she put like $10,000 or something into
Oh, wow.
this film, and she was trying to get a bunch of people that were involved. So a bunch of my friends who were visual arts majors were were a part of this, and I was like, "Can I have a role? Can I have a role? Can I have a role?" And they gave me this small role where it was like the story of that one. I have to find what the title of that one's called. It's been a minute. But basically, it's like a film set, and they're filming. There's like these two big movie stars, and they're filming this big like epic thriller drama with like espionage, and everyone's backstabbing each other. And
So like a
and I
vertical.
play. Was that?
Like
Yeah.
a vertical.
Yeah, like a vertical. It is shot horizontally because it is shot horizontally, being a student film. And yeah, so like big movie stars for the film set, and I play the director in that's like filming the project. So it's a film within a film. I'm like the director, and the story is like the lead actor. He is like the female lead. She is like the big movie star, and she has a name. She's the reason why this big film is being produced. And then her husband is acting beside her, and he is kind of like no one really cares about him. He's like kind of washed up. And I played the director that's like, okay, yeah, dude, we don't care about you. It's all about her. And so I had a really super small, I had only a few lines, super small part in it. And we shot that in a mansion over the course of a couple of days. Like we all just slept at this mansion. Yeah, very much like vertical. And yeah, because of that, like I wasn't paid. I was like, it kind of, everything was so delayed. I was there for like a full day, and I slept over to the next day, and they didn't bring me on any scenes because they were just like, everyone's learning, everyone's young. And I just didn't complain. I was just happy to be there. I was just excited. And after that, the director of that and her producing friend, they approached me and they're like, hey, like, you were great. Like, would you want to, so the director for that, it was like her friend who's producing. He was like, would you like to be in my like senior thesis? I think you would be great in the lead role. And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And then that's how that film came about. They just liked my attitude and stuff. And yeah, it was great. It turned out really great. We shot over the course of a couple of days. They brought in like the actors that play my parents, drove in from LA. And I was like, oh, LA actors. Wow.
Cool.
Teach me everything. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of how that transpired.
And as we transition into talking more about verticals, which you've done a ton,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
Now to folks out there, you put this on your resume, the phrase ethnically ambiguous, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, and that is a very interesting and kind of a term that probably is something that has helped you in getting roles.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, ethnically ambiguous. It's interesting because I'm half Asian, but if a role is like just Asian, I won't get it. But if it's white, or if it's like Hispanic, or if it's mixed, or it's like Middle Eastern, I can kind of like, it's believable, I guess. So it's an interesting thing with like how you're perceived versus like, what you really are. It all depends on like what you can like, what people see you as. So yeah, as an actor, you want to try to be, and my goal as an actor, my dream would be to be like a chameleon actor, where I can kind of just disappear into a role, like maybe like Gary Oldman or something, where like maybe they'll see me on the street and they'll be like, are you in that one film? Or I kind of just like have this like, I'm really well respected in the industry, and everyone knows in the industry who I am, but like I'm kind of unrecognizable. So I have a lot of range. That's kind of like my dream. So like being ambiguous and just playing here and playing there, that's kind of like what I love doing.
So what was your first vertical?
First vertical. So it was the background one I did with my friend, but the first like speaking one I did.
Lead, yes.
Yeah, it was a real short lead called The Alpha's Daughter. I jumped from like background to lead. It was interesting. So yeah, I auditioned for that and booked it. It was like August 2023 was my first one. And man, it was like going from, like at that point I'd never done like a feature film, like 100-page plus script. So doing that over the course of the 8 days, I learned like so much. I definitely had struggled with certain scenes, getting into it, the speed and yeah, it was really overwhelming for me because I
Yeah.
hadn't had like a ton of I've just done short films and stuff. I know a lot of actors will go into this and they'll have done some feature films in the past. I also know some actors that have like never acted on screen and will do a vertical. So I was kind of like, I had a little bit of experience. But yeah, that was the first one I did with Real Short, and it didn't do very well, unfortunately, but it was a great story. And I think like the cinematographer and the director, everyone was like, it was really, really talented. I'm really proud of like how it turned out and like how it looks and everything. But that's kind of how it is with verticals. Like you can be really proud of a project, but maybe it doesn't resonate with a lot of the people that watch it, and it kind of just disappears into oblivion. Yeah.
Michael, thank you.
Yeah. I do have one person in the chat room. I think it's someone you know. So Charlene Jung says hi. Can't imagine who that could possibly be.
Who is that? Hello, fan.
Yeah, I'm probably a really big fan for a long time, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that is so true. You've kind of, well, you really haven't answered it, but you have answered it. I usually ask the guests after they've done their first vertical and they have to tell their friends what they've done, and their friends give them a funny face because they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And your biggest fan says yes. So there you go. But how do you explain to them what a vertical is?
Yeah. Let's see. Now it's a lot easier now because like when they were first starting off, I was
like 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago. No one knew what they were. I had a friend, I was trying to explain to her, and she's like, "Oh, I don't really want to be like an influencer though." Because she thought since it was vertical, it's like I'm doing like content, like TikTok content, basically. Because a lot of it, it would be first 10 episodes would be like, on TikTok. So she thought it was like an influencer thing. I was like, no, it's like it's a film, it's narrative, it's a feature film. Like so it was weird explaining it first and explain to my family. I forgot exactly how I explained it, but I was like, oh, it's like a soap opera, but for your phone. And at the time, and they kind of still are, they're called like mobisodes, like a mobile episode. So now they're pretty much everything. It's like across the board. They're called verticals. But yeah, so I was like, oh, it's like a soap opera. I'm like a werewolf, and it's like super dramatic, and they're like, okay, sure. Well, yeah, okay.
And they probably still didn't get it until they actually saw one that you were in. Probably.
Right. It's one of those things where you have to see it and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I get it. Okay, but why is it shot? Why is it so it's for your phone? Do you shoot? I've had people be like, oh, so they shoot with an iPhone to do it? I was like, no, they're like nice, full like
professional cameras. Yeah.
Professional cameras that they just rotate.
Turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is hard for some people to understand. I still have friends that they just don't get it. They still don't, because why would you want to film vertically?
Yeah.
They don't understand the concept. And I go, and I've given up. I mean, with all the actors, I usually ask most of them how to define. I've tried every way the actors have been on to explain it to certain people, and they still don't get it. But will they go and watch one so they can see? No.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's like if they would watch one, they would get it. Since everybody else has gone all over the place, I'm going to stick with one or two more questions with the verticals. From your verticals, is there one that stands out that you really enjoy doing, either with the actors you were with, the script, or just the whole experience? Is there one that stands out? And if you don't want to single one out, that's fine. Then just tell me, Michael, I don't want to talk about that. Okay.
Yeah. I would say one that really stuck out to me, and I feel like it's one of my better performances, is Faded at First Sight with Angela Liu, who was directing. Angela Liu has like basically become my mentor. I call her. So Faded at First Sight was like the second, or like it was one of her first like verticals that she directed. So I originally, I'll give you a lot of backstory, so just cut me off.
Hey, that's fine. No. We like backstories.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So she basically, it was like towards the end of 2023. So I finished my real short lead, and I was like applying for more, and I was still like in that grind of an actor and applying for a bunch of stuff. And so there was I applied for something on Backstage, and there was an in-person audition for it. And typically it's really really difficult for because of how fast verticals move. There a lot of times there's not in-person auditions, which is traditionally how like films and commercials and everything are done. You have like, I'm sure you know this, but you have like an audition, and then you maybe have a callback, and then you have a chemistry read, and there's several rounds. But a lot of times for verticals, you send your tape in and they book you off that. But Angela Liu, she comes from a very she comes from a film background, so she's traditionally like wanting to bring people in. So I had an in-person vertical audition, and I've had like maybe of all the ones I've done, all the auditions I've done, I've maybe had like 4 in person total, or 5. So it's very little. So I went in, I auditioned for the lead on that one, and didn't get it. And I remember she called me like a few days later, and she's like, hey, like the client wanted this other actor for the lead, but would you be willing to play a supporting, like the brother? And it was supporting. It was still pretty well paid. And I was like, yeah, of course. And she was so happy. She's like, yes. I heard her on the phone. She's like, oh, he said yes to one of the producers. And so we shot that, and she just like saw how committed I was. She started was one of the first people to like really, really believe in me and like take an interest in me. And I also I was trying to get into voiceover as well. And she is a professional voiceover actor. So she kind of took me under her wing with that, and was like giving me tips and like helping me. She gave me my first like voiceover gig for this like audio drama that she was producing and directing. And so yeah, I saw she kind of started like we kept bringing me in for projects, and we had this streak where she had like 10 projects in a row, and I was in like every single one. But just recently, like we started that in was it October 2023 in October is when we started this streak, and just recently it ended because I had a conflict and I wasn't able to be in the film, one of her films. Yeah, so she, after that one, she like did another one. It's a werewolf one, and I played like I'm like the brother that's like stepbrother that's like in love with the lead, but she's in love with the guy. And it was I feel like one of my better performances, because I did so much prep. I was able to be all the actors were like so talented. It's one of Nicole Maddox's first films, and she's just so like magnetic that it really elevates your performance. So yeah, Fate at First Sight. And I had this like epic death scene. There's some stunts too that we did. There was like a stunt coordinator, Alfred Singh, who has worked with like Jackie Chan, and he like coordinated. We had like a stunt rehearsal, which you never have a stunt rehearsal for verticals. You just start filming, maybe a table read. And yeah, we had this like, he coordinated this like epic fight scene. I had this like death scene, so I'm on the ground dying, like telling her that I love her and I'm proud of her. And yeah, I feel like that was, and it's shot really well. And yeah, I'm really proud. I remember when I showed my family, they're like, oh, these are good. I loved your performance. And yeah, so that's one of my favorites.
That's great. Liz.
Actually, Douglas, I'm really kind of glad that you transitioned into the voiceover, because that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and you explained it beautifully.
Thank you.
And since we have been talking about verticals, and I know you have done a ton, as of right now in the can or in post-production, how many do you think you have done?
It's funny. I actually I'm a very organized person.
Uh-huh.
Somewhat type A, and I like started counting exactly what I had. And I kind of lost track, but I would say over 30 for sure.
Wow.
Maybe like 35. Yeah, quite a bit. But it depends. Like it's different than like, I've only done a couple leads. And so if it's like 30 leads is not the same as like 30 supporting. So there's times when I'll just come in for a couple of days. Or there was one I did for a company where I was like the husband that dies in the first episode. And so I'm just in one little flashback scene. So even though it's a high number, it doesn't necessarily mean like I've been on set so much. Yeah, but yeah, it's got to be 35 plus at this point.
Well, like when I was going through a lot of them, I'm like, No wonder your face looks so familiar because I had seen you so
Pop in
many
here.
times popping in.
Yeah.
Yeah, popping in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you back to when you were with the Tolunga players, and you did one of my favorite roles from one of my family's absolutely favorite television shows. You played Radar O'Reilly from MASH. Do you remember
Yes.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you enjoy playing that character?
Oh, it was so great. It was so great. So I that's like the only play I've ever done. And I remember that was like I just graduated college. I was like, okay, this is like 2019 or so. So verticals weren't a thing. And I was like there was this pressure of like every great actor I like look up to, they've done theater in some way. So I was like applying. So it was like local community play. I remember I remember auditioning for it, and more backstory. I remember going into the audition room. I think I sent in I had a friend who had like worked with the production, the theater company before, and he gave me some advice about how to like perform. It was like a monologue was the first round. Second round was like an in-person callback for like a certain scene with sides. And I remember I was like doing the scene, and like in the middle of the scene, like there's supposed to be I hear something, and there's this table to the side of the room, like with a window right above it. And I just had this instinct of in the moment, I was like, what is that? Most of the time, Ray O'Reilly like goes to the ground to listen in,
Yeah.
and I jump on, so I run to the table and jump on it, and I'm like listening outside the window. And I just decided to make that choice. And there's like, I think I was like the second Radar Riley to read that. And there was like 3 or 4 people that came after me. And everyone did the exact same thing I did. They all jumped on the table. And the scene
Wow.
doesn't call for that. They all jumped on the table. And then later I was like, oh man, that was my idea. Hopefully the director realizes that I did that first. And she, towards the end of the audition process, she was like, oh, Douglas, like, I recognize that you jumped on the table first. Like, I know that was your choice. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I think that was a big reason. Obviously, like, I think my performance is pretty good too. But I think that choice kind of like helped me stand out, that everyone was like copying me.
Yeah.
And so that's hopefully one of the reasons why I booked it. But it was like, with verticals, you don't really, you memorize like the few scenes you have that day. And even like regular films too, like, you have 100 pages, but you're only doing like, a few scenes per day. When I first got the entire play, I was like, how am I going to remember this whole thing? This is insane. It was like really, really, really daunting because that's the first play I've ever done, first rehearsal. So we were rehearsing for, like a month and a half. I was working in a restaurant, so I was like kind of doing it on the side, and it was incredible. I definitely was really nervous. I had some great moments. I was just like so trying to learn from everyone. There's a lot of talented actors that were working there. And yeah, it was just, I remember when I first, the first show, I had like all the scenes kind of in like a piece of paper, like spark notes of like the scenes and what my actions are kind of. And I put them on both sides. And I remember there's this more experienced actor. He was giving me a hard time for having that up. He's like, you got it. You don't need that. And I was like, no, I do. And I remember just being like, okay, what's the next scene? Like, I have to memorize this whole book. And after like the third show, I didn't even look at my little cheat sheet. I was like, I had confidence. I mean, I had it the first time too. So yeah, just being able to have like what you're like mentally capable of like putting into your head and memorizing, and performance, and the electricity of the audience too. I remember like my opening shot, I'm lying there and like the curtain goes up, and it's just a different energy than when you're on set. Because when you're on set, it's like cut, okay, reset, like everything just is live. So it really is go with the flow. I remember I'm not a singer, and I try to avoid any role that has singing in it because I don't want to hurt anyone's ears. And I remember in this, for some reason, it was supposed to be a straight play. That's why there were some musicals that I kind of applied to, but straight plays are like, okay, great, no singing. But there's a little part in it where me and 2 other actors are singing. The song is like some of the other actors are like dancing to this little number. And the 2 actors that are singing with me, they have like professional training, and they can like hit the right notes, they can harmonize correctly, they can do vibrato, they can do all this stuff. And I'm just like, all right, let me just I'll try to just like, be an extra voice. And I remember one day I was so mad at the time. I was so mad. The older actor, he started coughing during the singing thing. And the other actor, he was a younger kid, so he just thought everything was funny. He started laughing, and the other guy starts coughing. So I'm the only one singing. And I'm like, this is my absolute nightmare. And I was like, and in
Your
my head it
first
was like,
solo.
yeah, I was like, not me singing a solo when I hate singing. But it went fine. And the later on, I was like, director, I was like, oh, that was terrible, huh? She's like, oh, it happens. That's when I thought, like, you just go with the flow. With stage 2, you kind of just go with it. I think,
Yeah.
when things would go wrong, I would just go with the flow. And I think that's kind of helped my improv, because I've done that with like in film. If you've done the work, like say someone says something to you and you're supposed to say this other thing, like they call you, but like recently I had a scene where my mom calls me by my actual name when I'm in the CEO office. I'm like, Mom, call me by my actual name. She doesn't say like my name. She said something else. So I like adjusted the line. So it helps you.
Okay.
It really helped me to improv and be like, so that way that take is still usable if they wanted to. Everything makes sense.
And you covered for her too, smoothly.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
totally. And I've had that happen to me. I say the wrong thing, the actor will like switch what they say.
Yeah.
So it's really helped me with like improv and yeah. But it was a great experience. I would love to do more plays. They just don't pay very well, unfortunately. But yeah.
And they take up a lot of time too.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they do.
You have to commit, 2 months to something, where verticals you can do like I'm doing like, I think I'm doing like 2.5 this month.
Yeah.
And then I have a short film thrown in there. Like it's just like, yeah, it's just a commitment, unless you have the financial stability to do it. It's really hard.
Couple of quick questions for you. I know because I've caught you in this with different shows that you've done, and you have a bit of comedy in there. Do you like to do comedy? And if you do, is it more slapstick or tongue in cheek, or you just prefer to do a more serious dramatic role?
I love doing everything. Like I said before, I would like to be one of those actors that has been in so much stuff, and you're like, were you in that one like feature, the comedy feature, or were you in that rom-com, or were you in that psychological thriller? So I think I like doing everything. I feel like what would be really hard for me is if I got kind of pigeonholed into doing one thing. I like changing it up. I did like a creature short film recently where I was this zombie dog where I had like full face of makeup and pain, and like I was drooling, and so I love doing a ton of different stuff, like Bill Skarsgård. He was It, the clown It, and then he's been other stuff. I love just doing as much as possible. But with comedy stuff, I really like comedy. I feel like I maybe tongue in cheek. Like I love The Office. I love more dry humor, but then I love ones that are a little bit more ridiculous. I love drama as well. Like I have this one film. It is it's a pickleball horror comedy, and it was
Did
like,
you say pickleball?
Pickleball, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I just finished. It's a regular feature film, horizontal. I finished that. We finished shooting that this year, so it might be like a year before it comes out, or maybe a year and a half. But yeah, that was like, it was so many comedic moments, but there's like a lot of like dramatic and like real grounded moments. But I had so much fun with that character. I play like this neurotic journalist who's on the beat and trying to find the truth and get the story no matter what. And the director gave us a lot of chances to improv, so there's some good moments. And what I love about comedy is, if you do a really great scene, a really dramatic scene where you're crying and everyone's so involved, and everyone can come up to you and be like, "Oh, that was really great. That was really great. You're so talented." But when you're doing a comedic scene and everyone is like dying laughing after they call cut, that you can't really hide that. If everyone thinks it's really funny, like someone can tell you, "Oh, you did great," but you don't really know. Like maybe they're just saying that to be nice. Yeah. But if they're like, just laughing uncontrollably, you did a really good job. And that's kind of like how it kind of goes back to like being in a play when like an audience is reacting to it. It's all real time, and you feed off that energy. So yeah, there's been some moments on set where like everyone's kind of starts laughing after, and it feels really good. But yeah, I like doing everything.
You have already said that you can fill in for certain different ethnic groups across the board, but
Mhm.
you have a very wide range of basic dialects as well. What
Mm.
is your favorite or easiest for you to do you think?
I think so. There's my favorite. My favorite. I feel like maybe British might be my favorite. Russian was kind of easier for me to do. British, I've definitely gotten a little bit better at that. There's been some roles where I went for British. It was a British accent, and they're like, "Ooh, can you do an American accent?" Like in the audition, I was like, oh, "Okay, I need to work on that." But I recently I had a British role that was directed and written by someone who's who is British. So I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's not that bad." So I think British is like I feel like really fun. It's like just the way you talk to kind of changes your posture and depending on the region in England. But like Russia's always really fun too. I want to get a coach because I feel like I can do it, but like it kind of comes in and out, which I guess is normal. But I would love to get a dialect coach to kind of really hone in and kind of get a few more. Like Irish is I can't do. Australian I can't really do. Yeah, but like yeah, Russian is like was kind of easy for me. I don't know why. I like Southern too. So Southern, my mom is from the South, so Southern
Oh,
also
okay.
is really fun. I feel like, yeah, I would love to do like a Southern, like Western type film. Yeah,
That'd be so fun to see you in. Marcia, I'm
yeah.
going to toss it to you.
Thank you. This is a kind of off the wall question in a way, but I've always wanted to know about actors and eating scenes. I've seen in some of your roles, people are eating. How important is it to actually eat something during a scene, and does that happen, and how does that complicate things?
Yeah, it complicates things, especially with verticals. I feel like we're so rushed. A lot of times, the script supervisor or production design, who's ever watching how much you're drinking, sometimes they're not able to fill it up properly. So you drink a little bit of it, and they'll do the next scene. So your drink's like going like that. Eating something too, I'll try to do like just one bite of something because I know like student films. There's a student film I did, and they gave me a plate of food, and each take I would just take one bite and then continue the scene because I knew like I think that was like the only thing that we had. So I think it depends on how aware you are as an actor. I know some people that would just like start eating the whole thing and then like I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like the shot is gonna be so bad. Um, and so it really depends. It depends on how. I think that's a conversation you need to have with the producers. Be like, oh, how many of this do you have? If this is it, then I'm gonna take like one small bite. But then also like if you're in a scene, you're eating dinner. Like if you just have one little small bite, it might not look that great. So I think it depends. I think verticals you really should just do like I try to do as little as possible so the shot doesn't get as messed up. And usually it's not about the food. It's like it's just about the drama in the scene, and you don't really notice that. But there's been other cases where, yeah, they like refill your drink every single time to the right amount, so you can kind of just. But then also too, like if you like had it in your right hand, you need to kind of remember that and keep doing that. So it's weird because as an actor, you don't want to like pre-shape your actions. You kind of want to just be free and be present and not have to worry about all that stuff. But then like in the edit, it might because I used to do editing too. That's going to be like really the editor's going to hate you, or they may just cut away from you because like, you keep doing like different stuff. So yeah, I think it really depends on like the production quality that you have and how many extras. But yeah, I err on the side of like just as little as possible until I'm told otherwise.
So it's a little more complicated than the audience might think.
So complicated because then maybe you're eating like a muffin and that's the only muffin and you eat the whole thing and you're like, oh, shit. And then they have to give you like a pancake or a croissant. Like there was something I saw recently, there's an older film, and yeah, it was like a croissant to a pancake. I think it might have been Pretty Woman. Yeah, it was like a pancake, and the next cut, it was like a croissant. So it happens at
Ooh.
every level.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. So it makes when I see mistakes on my films, I'm like, okay, well, it happens.
And we had talked about comedy and how you really like comedy roles too. What
Yeah.
are some of the comedic actors? Who are some of the comedic actors that you admire or are inspired by? You know,
Ooh.
everybody likes Jim Carrey or Jack
Yeah,
Black.
yeah. Jim Carrey's up there. Robin Williams is probably one of my
Mm,
favorite. He's absolute legend. I remember seeing him in yeah, I think he's one of the actors too that I really thought they had the character like Aladdin when he was the genie in Aladdin.
mhm.
I was just like, oh, this character's so interesting. And when I got older, I was like, oh, that's played by an actor named Robin Williams. And I was like, whoa. And then he has such range.
Yeah.
He can play Good Will Hunting. He's so incredible in that.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've seen Whose Lines It Anyway. Um,
Yes. Hmm.
he was in like one episode of that, and how like quick and fast he is in the episode, but also he doesn't like overpower anyone. He kind of like he'll include them in the joke, or he'll at his expense he'll make the joke work. Yeah, I think he's one of the top. Yeah, one of the top comedic actors, and he just
Hmm.
the range that he has. Yeah, his how quick. Like I try to be sometimes like I had as you see I talk really fast. And I'm like kind of as a kid I was very hyperactive. So that's been something to learn for, especially for like verticals, like slowing down and like enunciating. But when I can do quicker, more witty, faster stuff, I'm like try to channel Robin Williams as much as I
Cool.
can. But yeah, he's up there. Yeah, I love Jim Carrey. He's great. Yeah, Steve Martin.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the Pink Panther was one of my favorite. Me and my sister, it was like we quote that all the time. Um, yeah, yeah,
It's so nice to hear you talk about some of the classic kind of older actors too,
yeah,
um, that you may
yeah.
go back and look at and get some tips
Mhm.
from actually.
Yeah,
So
like
what
I've
else?
been wanting to go back and
Mhm.
watch more Robin Williams films because
Yeah,
I feel like I've only seen a
yeah,
few, and I would love to like look at more of his work.
yeah.
But yeah, I try to, yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Well, what else might you be watching as far as we're watching verticals, obviously, but what are
Mhm.
you watching, series
I
wise?
Yeah, I can be really bad with like shows and movies. Yeah, I can be pretty bad at it. Sometimes I get really distracted. I find myself watching a lot of documentaries.
Ah,
Um, I feel like with acting, being in film, I kind of sometimes it's hard to like, oh, I would have like I tell this all the time to my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, I would have directed that differently, or oh, that cut doesn't make sense, or so I get like really analytical when I'm watching film and TV sometimes. So
mhm.
documentary sometimes is like more of what I've been watching recently. So I'm kind of behind. But I love animated stuff like Scavenger's Reign on HBO Max. It's like a one season animated series.
Yeah.
Fantastic voice acting. It's like this. I don't know if you've seen it, but like these people crash land on this alien planet,
Hmm.
and the creative directors that have created these aliens, and there's everything is so unique and different. I love stuff like that. I'm a big fan of Dexter. I love Jedi. Like I would love to be like a dream of mine would be into like something in Game of Thrones. I'm really into sci-fi and fantasy. So like
Right.
something in Game of Thrones or like a Jedi. So I was watching Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. I think it's so fantastic. Let's see, Arcane as well on Netflix. That's the animated series. Season 2, I think, just came out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm also like a huge fan of Avatar. Um,
Oh,
The
so
movies or Airbender?
the Airbender, the animated series. Yeah. So
yeah.
I love it's just a classic, the great message. I remember my first vertical that I did as a lead. I had this acting coach I met with, and he was like, this character, it was like a revenge story. Like my family is killed when I'm young, and I come back and I attempted to kill the alpha that killed my family. And he was like, Zuko, one of the main villains in Avatar, he is a great character arc to
Mhm.
like look at and to look at like what he's gone
Mhm.
through and the character development in that, like what he experienced as a kid and how he was had to fight his dad, and he had this like arc where he's just so much rage and anger to like finding a good resolution, like the character development in that. And yeah, that's one of my I would love to be like, as a voice actor, I would love to like be in that world in some way. and I know Nickelodeon is like revamping a lot of their
Yes.
Yes.
outdoor brand. So hopefully I can get in there.
Well, this might be my last question. I'm looking at Michael. So, what would be your comfort food? What are some of the comfort foods that you go for? You know, you're tired, you've been working, you come home, you want to
Yeah.
eat. What are you grabbing?
Ooh, I'm a big foodie. I just love so many things. As a kid, my favorite thing, like lasagna, was one of my favorite things as a kid. I could eat like 3 big, like
Wow.
heaping
All
servings of
right.
it as a kid. Recently, like sushi has been like my go-to. I've been starting to make. I made like ramen eggs, and like ramen, like the broth from scratch. So
Ooh.
I've been eating a lot of more Asian cuisine, like sushi specifically. But I feel like biggest comfort food probably maybe dim sum. That's like my favorite. There's a
That
restaurant.
ties into that whole anime thing we're talking about.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's Cantonese. I'm half Cantonese, so Cantonese
Mhm.
is dim sum. And there's a great like little family owned restaurant near my house, and yeah, I spend a lot of money there.
Thank you. Okay, Liz or Michael?
Yeah, Liz. Let's go to Liz. Final questions, Liz.
Yeah, not so much a final question, more of a final statement. I have another program that we do that does
I knew
everything
she was gonna say it.
Japanese. And not only would I use all anime, I would kill to have you come in as a guest host, but
Yeah.
also come in with a recipe because we do dinner and a movie quote type of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah,
So,
I would.
yeah.
I would love to.
So right
That'd be
now
great.
we're going through, and might be a little tamer for you, but right now we're going through most of the Ghibli movies. But
Okay.
yeah, but
Okay,
we
great.
we are
I've only seen a few. I would have to catch up on those. Give
yeah.
me a list of like top 5 to watch
Okay.
or
Oh,
something.
we're actually doing Boy and the Heron 2 weeks from Sunday. So
Okay, great. So you
and
like you eat food while watching the film, and then you like kind of
well,
talk
we
after.
watch we review the movie. We break it
Oh,
down. We do a full
gotcha.
movie review and break it down and the hidden meanings and things.
Yeah.
And then we will talk about the recipe at some point in the show.
Okay.
But other than that, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. That I've had a fantastic time with you.
Thank you so
So
much.
it's been
I've had a
wonderful.
great time too.
So,
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Liz. Yeah, Marcia stole my question. I was like, what are you
Oh,
doing in your
good.
spare time? So thank you, Marcia. But that's what we do. We steal each other's questions, and then we just have to deal with it. I would just like to echo what Liz said. Thank you so much, Douglas, for
Thank you.
coming. And I think you would enjoy Liz's
Yeah.
anime
Oh, I would.
show.
I would.
Yeah, that is cool. It is just so people know if they're saying, "Woo, you do an anime show?" It's on every other Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. So it's an early for
Yeah, a little early.
for the West Coast. Yeah. But,
yeah, we're doing My Neighbor Totoro this Sunday if anybody's interested.
Yeah. So there you go.
Sweet.
But everyone, I've been scrolling on the bottom with our little thing. Give all of Douglas's
Oh yes.
information.
Mhm.
It's there. If you can't write it down, you can go to ntbmedia.net, look under live shows under Talented Universe, and it will show you. It'll give you a link that you can just go click, and there you go. And then Charlene has a final little thing.
Oh.
Great questions. This has been awesome. and Charlene, why didn't you ask a question? That's
Yeah,
what
why
I
not?
would like to know.
Probably knows everything, right?
Yeah, usually family does embarrassing questions to the guests, and I have to sometimes
Yeah, I know. She knows.
decide what what to post and what not to post. But she's been very good. So yeah. But anyway, everyone, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody.
So much.
Bye.
Have a good day.